Greetings, John here, and today we have a look at Rainbow Six Siege on Xbox One, PS4, and the PC. Siege has been an interesting surprise for us both in terms of the game itself and in its technical underpinnings. First off, the game utilizes Ubisoft's in-house Anvil Next engine. The fact that a small-scale tactical first-person shooter has been crafted using technology designed for a large-scale open-world game is surprising, but the results here are excellent. The benefits of Anvil Next are abundantly clear, with very natural lighting and realistic materials throughout each map. This isn't a flashy game, but if you stop and look around the environments, there is a lot of beauty to appreciate. Just look at this lovely area here, for instance. The real star of the show, however, is Real Blast. This technology enables fully destructive environments on a micro scale. Rather than leveling whole buildings a la Battlefield, players are able to blow holes in virtually everything instead. You can slowly break down walls, floors, and ceilings with your assault rifle, or bring out the demolition charge and blow it away. This technology truly changes the game, and leads to one of the most dynamic shooters we've ever played. It's fascinating to see the ways in which this can be used. On defense, you could put a barricade here, with an explosive trap of course, then come around to the other side of the wall, blow a few holes in it, and now you can monitor the situation. Or, on the offense, the number of ways in which you can infiltrate the target room never ceases to impress. Crucially, Real Blast technology is present and accounted for on all three versions of the game. Beyond that, the game itself looks brilliant on all platforms, even if its beauty can initially seem subdued. So that brings us to another rather fascinating inclusion, the so-called temporal filtering solution being employed here. Optional on the PC, this feature is utilized on both console versions and enables a faster level of performance without a huge image quality penalty. Essentially, this renders the game with half the number of pixels on each axis with ordered grid MSAA pattern before reconstructing the image from there to match the final output. This is then coupled with a post-processed temporal anti-aliasing solution to minimize artifacts in motion. This trick has its drawbacks, but when combined with Temporal AA, it helps produce a soft yet stable image in motion. If you look closely here, you can spot edge artifacts, but during normal gameplay, this is much less apparent. Using the PC version, we can actually test different anti-aliasing methods in motion. Note the change in image quality as we cycle through the various examples. It's interesting to see how the game looks with this feature enabled and disabled. Oh, and while we're looking at anti-aliasing, it should be noted that there are 7 different AA solutions available on the PC that can be combined for maximum effect. We're talking more than 200 possible combinations here. So in practice, we found that temporal filtering option can actually increase performance by more than 30% on the PC, which suggests that this extra headroom is the key to hitting frame rate targets on consoles. It has its drawbacks, but we actually like the end results both visually and performance-wise. Forging ahead, let's look more closely at the two console versions first. If we compare the two versions side by side, it becomes quickly apparent that the primary difference lies in resolution. The rest of the detail settings appear to be identical between the two. You might occasionally spot a difference in LOD pop-in, but by and large, only the resolution separates the two visually. What's interesting here is that we see a clear improvement over the pre-release beta version of the game. When we first looked at Siege, it was discovered that the PS4 version was lacking anisotropic filtering completely. In the final game, this has been corrected, and both versions sport a very ample amount of AF, as you can see here. Let's wander around through the bank here and observe a few additional details. Really not much to tell the two versions apart. Or how about the cafe level? Again, a near perfect match. Both versions look excellent. Switching over to the PC, we see a number of additional features that help this version take the lead, with a wealth of tweakable options. The options menu is packed with details. One of the first big changes stems from the game's shading quality setting. This impacts lighting, shading, and the interaction of light and materials. Console versions operate with the medium setting, but the high setting on PC brings a number of improvements. The most notable of which is the addition of relief mapping, which adds extra depth to the textures using a height map. You can see the difference here. It appears regularly throughout the PC version, but it comes with a cost to performance as expected. Then we have Ambient Occlusion. Ubisoft has crafted its own solution known as SSBC, which appeared in Far Cry 4 last year. This solution is used on consoles and it generally looks very good, but there are still some inaccuracies in detailed, brightly lit scenes. This is where HBAO Plus comes into play on the PC, which produces a different look that is technically more accurate. How about shadow quality? It would seem that the console versions are actually a match for the high setting, but PC users can push this up to very high for increased definition. Shadows actually look quite good across all platforms. Reflection quality is next, and here we see consoles operating at medium settings once again. This simply impacts the resolution and accuracy of the screen space reflections used in a number of environments. If you opt for the low setting, however, screen space reflections are disabled. Reflections are instead simply replaced with regular old cube maps. So the game looks great on all platforms, but it's clear that the PC version enables users to greatly enhance their experience, with the right hardware of course. Truthfully, when you first start playing the game, it can seem underwhelming visually, but give it time and you'll find a beautiful package here. While playing Siege, I could not help but think of the game as a next generation take on Fear. Well, at least visually. The realistic locales, clean lines, and a focus on destruction all take those concepts to the next level, and it looks glorious. People often ask, what is next generation gameplay? And in this case, one could certainly make an argument for Rainbow Six Siege. In many ways, this feels like a next generation take on Spies vs. Mercs from Pandora Tomorrow, with Rainbow Six mixed in for good measure of course. It's tactical, it's intense, and it's visceral. It's a handsome but understated game that looks and plays great on all platforms. Anyways, that wraps up things here, but be sure to check out the full article on the site as well as our YouTube channel for more goodness. Until next time, this is your operator signing off.